You have to install VMware first thing, and I hope you can do the part. Other than this VMware, you have to install two kind of softwares, two kind of machines in the VMware. So the
Okay.
first one was Kali Linux. You
Yeah.
have to download, and then you can install it later. So you can just go for the Google, like just go for the Kali Linux
Okay.
and to the official repository kali.org. Just download the file from here.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just download the installer part. If you
Yeah.
want to boot, if you want to boot the Kali Linux in a bootable pen drive, then you can just go with Kali Linux Live. But again, it's your choice. If you want
Okay.
to run
I'll go
Kali
with the
Linux with
installer.
live code, yeah, you can just go with the installer.
Yeah.
So you are doing this side by side.
Sorry.
You are doing the lab setup part side by side with me, or you will continue with the later on.
I can do that later on, like on my
Okay,
own time. Yeah.
all good. Let me just share the link, or you can just download from there.
Okay. All right.
Okay, you can just download. So other than this Kali Linux, we need one more machine. That was the Windows 10.
Windows 10. Okay. I have
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
you can just download Windows 10. Other than this Windows 10, we need one more machine, the Metasploitable machine, so that we can test our skills on the Metasploitable machine. You can download any vulnerable machine, but I'll suggest you to go for Metasploitable machine because in this machine we have more vulnerabilities which we can expose. Right? Just go with version 2 here. You can just on the Google, and you get this link. The source
Metasploit.
code Metasploitable. Let me share the link.
So, for the communication, do you have a WhatsApp or something, or like how are we gonna communicate?
It's your choice. If you want to communicate with the WhatsApp, I'm comfortable with sharing my mobile number. But it's again
Yeah.
your choice.
Sorry.
Let me share my number then.
Okay. Yeah. That's easier. And is it just gonna be me in the class, or more students will be joining
Uh,
later on?
right now, you are the only person in the class. We are
Okay.
only two persons here, you and me.
Okay. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
good.
So I'm sharing my number. Just leave it there.
Okay.
Okay. I have shared my number.
Okay.
So you have your number. Let me share this link as well. And you can download this machine Metasploitable version 2 from this website, from this link I have shared on the chat. Other than
Okay.
this Kali Linux and Windows 10, let's move toward the steps like how you have to install these machines. Right. So
One
I'll be
question.
setting up both the
So,
machines one by one. Kali, yes,
one quick question. So there is a Parrot OS also, so we don't need that.
it's completely your choice. Which OS you want to use? You want to use Parrot? You want to use Black Ark? You want to use Kali Linux? The main point of using all this kind of OS was we have tools pre-installed in all these OS.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't have to install all the tools one by one. It's again
Okay.
your choice. You want to use Parrot? You want to use Kali Linux? It's your choice.
Okay.
You can,
Okay.
you can use Parrot as well if you're comfortable with Parrot.
Okay.
Completely your choice.
Okay. I'll go with the Kali since you have the same one, so it's easier for me.
Yeah, you can use Kali as well. So just go with the file options here. Just go with the create new virtual machine.
Okay.
Just go with default typical next. You have to browse for the ISO file which you download from the links. Just
Okay.
browse the files, and I have all my files in the folder here. Local drive D downloads ISO. Let's go with the Kali Linux 21.1 machine. Just
Yeah.
go with next. Here we have to browse for the Linux version. So I know
Hmm.
my Kali Linux one version, my Kali Linux was the Debian operating system or Debian
Yeah.
Linux. Just
Yeah.
go with the Debian 10x default bit,
Okay.
and next again. You can
Okay.
change the name, and before changing the name, you can just change the location as well. Because if in some situation you have to format your window, right? Your system got corrupted or your system was not able to recover. At that time, what you do? We generally, while installing Windows 10 again, we generally format the C partition,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to go with the clean installation. So I suggest you to just store your virtual machines in a separate partition. You can go with
Okay.
Windows, whatever you have, but don't
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
store in the default location like C.
Okay.
I'll store the virtual machine in the local drive D, and here we have a folder with the name VMware. So just create a
Okay.
new folder like use any name again. I'm going with new Kali Linux.
Okay.
Just create a folder. Just rename your machine, whatever you want. You can just name anything here.
Okay.
So new Kali Linux again, and then go with the next option. Here you can specify the storage, how much size. you want to use for this virtual disk. So let's go with 50 GB. That's sufficient for me. Let's go with 50 GB. It's again your choice how much space you want to allocate to the machine.
Okay.
And next, again, if you want to upgrade the memory part, if you want to give more than 2 GB or less than 2 GB, you can upgrade this thing from the customized hardware part. So just go with the processor, just go with the memory, just go with the network configuration, NAT or bridge, whatever you want. You can
Okay.
just modify this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. After that, just finish the machine and you will get this machine here, right? After that, just power on the machine so you can install that.
Okay. So this VMware workstation, we need a license for it. Do you have a key or something?
You can just hold for the key on the Google. Just search on the
Okay.
Google for like VMware key. And with this
Okay.
string, you have to search for APPNW. There's a website with the name APPNW,
Apni?
apni.com.
What's that?
APPNW is a website name. So the domain name you can say appnwe.com.
Okay, VMware keys.
Yeah. So you can just go for this website. Yes.
And then also one more thing. Is it possible to record the session? Are you gonna be doing it or?
I'm recording the session.
Okay.
It's
Awesome.
still recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry for the recording. I'll share the recording.
Okay. I think I
Just
have the key. I don't know if it's from this source or somewhere else. I think I have that key. That one.
if you have the key, then you don't have to browse for this website. Otherwise, you can just get the key from here.
Okay. All right.
And we have the key for version from version 4 to version 16, and you can
Okay.
just try these keys.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Got it.
So let me just share the link again. You don't have to browse for all these things. You don't have to search again for this thing.
Okay. I
So
can copy it to my notes.
that this is the basic interface for Kali Linux installation. And while installation, you have two options: graphical installation, in which you get the mouse cursor, you can say, right? You can control the installation from your cursor as well. So if you just want to control it with the keyboard, then you can go with simple installation. Or if you want to use the cursor at the same time, you can go with the graphical installation. It's again your choice. Let's go with
Okay.
simple installation. I'll be using my keyboard only. Just press enter.
So this is not the graphical one, just the CLI one.
And this is the CLI. Not
Okay. All right.
completely CLI. You can use your keyboard to browse between different tabs and different options. You
Okay.
can navigate through your keyboard.
So once if we do the CLI one, can we go back to graphical mode or it's not possible?
So possible you have to restart the machine. That was the only option. If you
Okay.
just
Okay.
go on to the graphical one, just restart your machine here.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Just
Got it.
right click on the tab. We have the option for power. You can just restart the machine.
Okay.
Reset case. You can just reset it hard reset. It's
Okay.
generally do. So you can just
Okay.
go with the language. I generally use English. So country, I'm in India again, and you can
Mhm.
use your country name again. So language keyboard, English American by default.
Okay.
So latest version for the Windows will first install the CLI version for you, and then it will later ask you for the graphical installation, like what desktop environment you want to install. Right? We will be coming to that point later on.
Okay.
After a few minutes, we will discuss that part.
Mhm.
So make sure your machine was connected to the internet. Just make
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Host name, I'm going with the default Kali Linux. I'm using it in the virtual machine. I'm not installing in the main OS, and I'm not connected to any kind of domain. Let's just
Mhm.
leave it blank. If you are connected to the domain and if you are installing in the main machine, then you can write your domain name here. Otherwise, you can just leave it blank. It's again your
Okay.
choice.
Okay.
Just continue. Full name of the user, I'm going with Kali here. Again, continue username, Kali default. Just press enter. Password, I'm going with default Kali. Again, you have to enter the password and just continue. After configuring these basic values, so this was the basic partitioning option, like where you want to install your device. You have separate partition, or you want to install in separate partition like local drive D, local drive E, local drive C.
Okay.
If you want to install this in a separate partition, then you can go with the manual option. Just because I'm installing in the virtual environment, so I can use the entire 60 GB space which I allocate while configuring the options, right? You can just
Okay.
go with guided, use entire disk, entire 50 GB. Just press
Okay.
enter. This was the space, so the storage you can say. Select the partition. Here I have a single partition, so I go to the single partition here. Just press enter again, continue. So where you want to store the file, you want to create separate multiple partition inside a single partition, or you want to store all the file in a single same partition. Just go with default and press enter again. Just finish partitioning, write changes. Yes. This will install the base system for you. This will install a CLI version for you, right? If you just install the base system and you just skip the desktop environment installation, you only get the CLI version, like which we generally do in this option. Let me just show you. Let me just start my Kali Linux 21.1.
Mhm.
Again, if you want to use some older version for Kali Linux, you can just go with this website like old.kali.org. Here we have all the images for Kali Linux. You can just browse this folder from version 1 to version 21.1. We have all the images.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can just go with these things which spawn.
Mhm.
So in the meanwhile, say for the base system, we have to wait. Yeah. So this was the basic installation part for your desktop environment. So you can just install. So by default, by Kali Linux, install the XFCE, which is a lighter version for Kali Linux, but we don't have extensions for this XFCE version, right? So I personally suggest you to use the Genome version instead of this XFCE because we have more option and we have much user-friendly environment in this Genome desktop environment. You can just
Okay.
select the Genome, and if you want to install more tools, then you can just go with a large default selection plus additional tools. You can
Okay.
install some other meta packages as well, like
Okay.
Kali Linux -large. If you
Okay.
want to install this meta package, then you can just choose it, then you can just select it and just continue.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can just leave it unchecked and then
Okay.
continue. It's again your choice. Just
Okay.
press enter. Now it will install the tools for you. So this will take some
Okay.
time, around 5 to 10 minutes. This again depending on your configurations. Like you have a
Okay.
strong system, then it will take some around 5 minutes. If you have some weak system, you can say then it will take around 10 to 15 minutes. But it depends on the configuration part.
All right. Yeah, I have
Other
pretty
than
strong.
this, yeah, then it will install in this 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Other than this Kali Linux, so you can install Windows 10 as well the same way. Let me just show you. So again, go with new virtual machines. Again, go with typical, browse for ISO file for Windows 10, and here we have the file for Windows 10 20H2, the latest one. Just go with next. Product key, you can just search on the Google for Windows 10 key, and here we have the key. You can choose any key again. So just copy
Okay.
this key, and you can
Okay.
just enter it.
Okay.
Again, username, let's just change the username from Siddharth to Pro. You can use any username again, it's your choice. Change it to Pro and next. When you want to store the file again, you can just modify the location. It's again your choice. So I'm going with D, VMware. Let's create a folder like Windows 10 for trial, right? And okay, you can just rename the file. I'm going with Windows 10 only. And next, storage by default, it works with 60 GB. If you want, you can just upgrade or downgrade it. It's completely your choice. Just go with next. And if you want to upgrade memory, like hard drive, network configuration, if you want to switch from net to bridge, then you can go with net to bridge. It's completely again your choice.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have the option to automatically power on the machine after creation. Just leave it checked and you can just finish it. It will automatically boot up the machine.
Okay. I did this before also for Windows 10.
So you can just follow the same step. You don't have to do anything while installing Windows 10. You automatically install the machine. You don't have
Yeah.
to interact with the machine.
Yeah. So is there a lab manual as well?
Lab manual is there. We have a lab manual. So
We have it.
my Windows 10 was installing and my Kali Linux was installing. So when you download the Metasploit version 2, you got a zipped file. And after extraction, you got these files in the folder. Let me just show you. After extraction, you will see these kind of files, right? So all you have to do is just go with the file option. And before that, I have to remove my machine. Just go with remove option here. Oh, but that's Metasploitable version 2. Remove the machine. So after extracting the Metasploitable version 2, all you have to do is just go with file again, scan for virtual machine. Just go with this option, browse for the folder where you have extracted the zip file, right? Just go with this PC, D, because I have extracted my file in this folder, VMware. I can see the folder with the name Metasploitable2-Linux. Select the folder, okay, and next. You can see your file here
Mm.
and finish, and you will get the file.
Okay.
You don't have to install these files. You don't have to
Yeah, it's
install this
already.
pre-configured file.
Yeah, yeah.
So before execution, just keep in mind you have to take a snapshot for the machine.
Okay.
Right? If there was any fault,
We can revert
if
back. Yeah.
you if you did anything wrong with the machine, then you can just revert back the changes. For that, just take a snapshot.
Okay.
Or you can just you can just enable the auto protect option as. But again, it's your choice. Enable the
Okay.
auto protect or disable the auto protect. It's your choice. But always take a snapshot for the machine. You can
Okay.
revert back the change. So my Kali Linux was still installing for 57%. My Windows 10 was almost installed.
Oh, can you excuse me for a minute? Okay, I'm back.
Oh,
I took some training from Network Bulls a while ago.
for the networking part.
Yeah,
That
it was like 4 or 5 years back. Mhm.
okay. So after installing the desktop environment, download different things for the Kali Linux, you have to install the bootloader because we know for booting our OS, we have to use the bootloader, right? And
Yeah.
in case of Kali Linux, Parrot, and Blackheart for all these things, we use the grub bootloader. You have to install it manually. Just go with that you want to install the bootloader, yes, and just select your drive from where you want to boot the OS. So we have this partition /dev/sta because we have a single partition, right? Just go with this option and press enter. It will install the boot OS for you. It will install the grub bootloader for you and restart your machine or reboot your machine.
Okay.
On the other hand, my Windows 10 was almost ready, you can say. This was the Windows 10 which you can use for the practice part. Let me just shut down it because I don't need this machine anymore for today.
Okay.
So you can just power off the machine. On the other hand, my Kali will was still the installation part. This is the installation. It will take around 1 or 2 minutes. Continue. So just go with the username and password here. And the default password like Kali and Kali.
Okay.
This was the basic interest to Kali Linux with the genome expression you can say. So what I will do first, I'll just configure some options in the machine. I'll start with the desktop background. Just change it to whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
Just make some changes in the back work as well. So size 32, right hand side, time 15, launcher, I select workspaces. Uh, Again, you can configure it as your comfortable and just
Okay.
configure it yourself.
Okay.
Right. So one more thing about extension we generally use. We have a useful extension here which you can generally use. Like the first one was the clipboard. So in Windows, we generally use Windows and the V used to use to browse for all these kind of copies, right? So to access my clipboard, we use Windows key and the V button, right? But in this Kali Linux, we have to use the extension. So just go with this option like these three lines menu option. Just go with the add-ons. Just go with the extensions again. Just search here for genome. So here we have the cell integrator. You can just add this to Firefox.
Okay.
Just add it. And here we have the extension. Extension.genome.org. Here you can directly search for the extension for the genome. So just search here for clipboard, and this is the first keyboard integrator you can say. Just install it. For installation, you just have to turn on this button from off to on, and that's all, right? And you can see I have this extension here. Or if you just want, you can just simply search for the extensions as well. Just go with this home button, go with this Windows button on the keyboard. Search here for tweaks. Go to the search for the extensions as well. You can search for the extensions again. You can see the extension clipboard. If you want to configure it, you can just go to setting options, and I'll configure it to store 200 review size. I am not configuring it again. Let's go with both the things. I want the button, I want strings as well, right? And that's all from my side right now. So after extension, you can just use one more option like which I generally use in Pix. We have this Windows option. So I generally use focus on hover. If I just slide my cursor from this Windows from this tweak option to this Firefox, my machine will automatically select the Firefox in the background. I can write any command. I can execute
Okay.
any option on that Firefox.
Okay. Okay.
This was again one more option which I generally use. If you want, you can just configure this Kali links from your tweak, from your extensions. We have multiple things here. You
Okay.
can just go with this option. Other
Okay.
than this, we have the terminal tab here. You can use for the commands. And in this terminal tab, we have some different shortcuts you can say. You can just configure some shortcuts from the preferences again. You can just go with the shortcuts. So which I generally use for new tab, I use control N. You can again modify them as per your convenience.
Mm-hmm.
For copy, I use control C, control C again. For paste, I use control V, and that's all. Right, so you can
Okay.
just go with unnamed where you have option for the text, color, scrolling, commands, the metadata, all different options. You just go with the custom fonts. increase it to 15. Now it looks better. Right? You can just write all the commands to Kali Linux like ls, because we know Kali Linux is a Debian-based Linux operating system, right? So you can execute all the commands for Debian like apt, generally in the Debian-based versions. So for apt for aptitude, if you want to install, if you want to remove some kind of packages, software, then you can use the command apt, right? And we have to execute this command with a sudo permission. So just go with sudo apt, update your machine first, and press enter. Just enter the password for Kali Linux. Okay, I know the password, and press enter. Right, so I'm just updating my machine. I'm just checking for which applications are installed in this Kali Linux. Do I have any update for this kind of software? Is there any update in the market for this installed software or not? Right, so I'm just checking for the updates. I'm not installing it right now. I'm just checking for the update. So when you want to install the update, you go to the command sudo apt upgrade. Install those updates, you write the command apt upgrade, and to check for updates, you write the command apt update. Right?
Okay.
You can see I have 460 packages to be upgraded. You can just go with the command apt upgrade. Right? Or sometimes you can see this command like apt-get. Both the commands are same. Both the commands are same. You can use apt-get. You can use apt. Or I suggest you one more thing before executing any command, before using any tool. Just go to the manual page first. Man is the short name, man is the acronym for the manual page. So just go with the man and apt. You have the proper option, you have the proper description for all the options. You can just read about the tool, about the command, and then you can just execute all these commands, right? So if you just go with apt-h for the help, you can say, and press enter, you can see the commands. Not complete description, but you have the options, you have those commands here. Which command you can use for what general packages, what general options you can say.
Okay.
So you can use install for installation, reinstall for reinstallation. You have two options for uninstalling the package. First one is like remove, and the second one was purge, purge.
Yeah.
Just
Just
check.
same.
Yeah. So you can just use these commands, right? So you have the basic functionality for the Kali Linux, and you can just go with this Kali Linux again. You can try all the basic commands for the Linux.
Yeah.
After this installation for Windows 10, Kali Linux, and Metasploit version 2. So if you want, you can just install Windows 7 as well. It's completely your choice. We don't need it anymore because we will be performing our practicals in the Windows 10 only, right?
Okay.
And if it's okay for you, you can install two machines for Windows 10, one for the attacker, one for the victim. Because sometimes we use Windows 10 as an attacker's machine. Because some
Okay.
of the tools of the practicals we will be performing through the Windows 10 as an attacker's
Okay.
machine. So
Okay.
we require two machines to for Windows 10, one machine for Kali Linux and one machine for vulnerable, any machines. And you
Okay.
can just go better exploitable again. It's your choice.
Okay.
After this, you just power off the machine. So let's just keep it running. We
So
power off this.
we don't need any
Yes,
server.
we don't need any server.
Okay. So there is no
So
AD attacks or something.
there is no
AD attacks.
no.
Okay.
AD is a completely different thing.
Okay.
So with the general servers which we require, we've already configured in this particular machine. We have the
Okay.
basic server part in this particular in this machine, this vulnerable machine. You can say. There is no specific AD attack in the CES part. If you want to perform the AD attacks, you can, but there is no spectacle for the AD attack in the CEH.
Okay.
Yeah. So just leave the
But
machine running. Yes.
for the wireless ones, we do have that, right?
Yeah, we have the practical for the wireless.
And then do we need that network adapter for that?
If you want, you can just use your laptop, or if you are comfortable, you can just buy some kind of adapters for the wireless adapters. Like you can use Alpha.
So how about my inbuilt one? Is it gonna work?
You can use it. You can use it, but you have to convert. You have to use the Kali Linux in your main machine. You have
Okay,
to
that.
boot Kali Linux in your main machine. For that, you can use the bootable pen drive. Just create a bootable pen drive. Just boot your machine just for a while. You can use the bootable pen drive to start the machine. And for that, you require this kind of ISO, this kind of live Kali Linux machine. Right? We
Otherwise,
have this option. Yes.
yeah. Otherwise, I can buy the alpha one, right?
Otherwise, you have to buy the. It was only option.
And
You can
that is
buy
gonna work.
Alpha. You can. Yeah, that's going to work for both the machines. You can
for
use
VMware
Alpha
also.
for VMware as
Okay.
you can buy Alpha, you can buy some other adapters as well, like Leoftis is one of them. It's a cheaper option for all of us. You can just buy this Leoftis. Right? It costs around $100, you can say. Not
20.
even $100, $2. Okay. So it costs around
So,
1,000 rupees in India.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So you can just go with the Alpha. It's again your choice. But I'm not testing. I never suggest you to go with this multi antenna Alpha adapters because we have some driver issues for these Alpha adapters. You have to install the drivers in all the machines, right? So just go with single antenna and that's sufficient for us. So you can
Okay.
go with Alpha single antenna adapter, or you can just go with the Leoctis as well.
Okay.
Other than this, let's go with the simple sort of portion part, like simple introduction. Let me just tell me what things you have covered or what things were left. Just start my notes here for the basic introduction. So just go with these options. Like if you already know these terms, just that you can skip this part. So confidentiality of the CIA tried, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So you know all these things
Yes, I do.
and know reputation as well.
Yeah.
The basic types of hacker like black hat, gray hat, and all different script kiddies and state
Yeah,
sponsored.
yeah,
You already know that
yeah,
part.
yeah,
Then
yeah. I
types
did
of
that.
testing. Okay.
Yeah,
Type
did that too.
TMCPT, few terms like vulnerability, payload, exploit, zero day, deep web, dark web part.
Yeah.
Okay. After this, two common threats for the information security part, like network threats, MITM, DOS, password-based attacks, some host attacks.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the five phases of hacking, like reconnaissance, scanning, gaining, maintain, and clearing threats.
Right. Yeah.
And the last, some security standards, the PCI DSS, WIPA, and ISO.
Not this one. Not the last one.
Okay. Let's start with the last one. PCI
Okay.
DSS, WIPA, and the ISO standards. So a simple question, like as per your opinion, how companies prove their security? Like we are secure, you can do some kind of business with us. How companies convince their dealers like we have a secure network, we have a secure system, and we can use your services, and you can use my services. How they convince
So,
their clients?
so I used to work from a small firm, and when they got their credit card machines, so they verified whether the company is PCI compliant, and they gave us a list of vulnerabilities, and they're like, okay, you guys need to fix this first, something like that.
Yeah, yes. So just to prove your security, you use this kind of stand like PCI DSS is just one
PCI.
of them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, which stands for payment card industry data security standard, in which you have the proper rules for
Okay.
vulnerability list, which you have to be ensure you can fix these kind of vulnerabilities or not. So this was only for the payment cards. If your credit card, your debit card, your ATM card, your EMI cards, all different cards details were stored and stored and transferred and shared with whom
Okay.
the data will be shared, how data will be processed, how data will be stored, how data will be transmitted, and all different kind of rules we have here, and all the vulnerabilities for all these kind of things for credit card, debit card, and ATM card, simple things. For here
Okay.
at the PCI DSS, right? After this, we have the HIPAA for the Health Information Portability and Accountability Act, which only deals with your health information, like your accidental coverage and all different kind of information, like your weight, your blood pressure, your sugar, and all different things like eyesight, and all different things about your health.
Okay.
Right? All different rules we have for the information for the health of for the, about the health in the HIPAA. Right? After this HIPAA, we have the ISO standard, and you can say it's a complete family. It's not a single standard. And if you just know about this part, it's a complete family for the standards. So ISO 27000, ISO 27000 families. Just go with this Wikipedia, and you can see we have multiple standards for multiple things. 27001 is for different standard, 27009 is for different standard, for different department, you can say, for different things, you can say, right? So we have some code of practice for IS part, we have some risk management things, we have some code of practice for IS part again, we have some for application security, we have some for network security, We have some information security, incident management part, right? We have multiple standards for multiple things in ISO
Okay.
27000 family. So again, you can just go with, you can just make your company, you can just make your product compliant for all this kind of standard. And with these standards, you can prove your security that we have a secure system, we have a secure environment, right? And you can just deal with us. For that, we generally use this kind of standard. And if you just browse for any kind of website which deal in this kind of information, like let's go with simple Paytm. Let's just go to the bottom, and you can see all these kind of websites, all these kind of companies were certified to this kind of standard. Like PCI DSS is just one of them, right?
Uh,
This
where did it?
Paytm was, yes.
So where did
Sorry,
they say? Where did they say about PCI?
what did I say about the PCI DSS?
No, no, no. About Paytm. Did they say something about PCI or the standards they're compliant with?
I didn't get your question. Sorry.
So when you open this link, Paytm, did it show somewhere
Yes.
that it's PCI compliant or it has some standards?
When you generally open this Paytm.com, at
Okay.
the bottom of the page, you have these
Okay.
options. You have this Paytm compliance part.
Okay. 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 Okay.
So you can just, this is a simple basic website for the Paytm.com. And if I just scroll to the bottom, you can see this option. And I'm just zooming.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
There is no specific website for this kind of standard, for this kind of
Okay.
certification.
Okay.
You can just go with these options. Like if it's a website, the company is standardized for different standards or not, right? The company is compliant or not.
Okay.
Other than this, we have continued with the lab setup part. So let's start with the module number 2, like footprinting. If you remember
So
the 5 phases of hacking, yes,
so these notes are something different from the GitHub that you shared.
no,
Oh, they are the same. I can see.
they're the exactly same.
Okay. All right.
You only have the color formatting here. That's why they look different, but they're also exactly same.
Okay. All right.
It's because of the color formatting you think this also
Okay.
different, but they were
Okay.
exactly same.
Okay.
Other than this, if you remember the 5 phases of hacking, right? Then we have the 5 phases. Like the first one was footprinting and reconnaissance. So let's start like what kind of information you can collect from the open source information, open source public information you can say. Like how you can use Google to filter out some results, right? Let's start with that one.
Okay.
So I'm considering multiple targets here. First one is like let's go with the websites, and then we switch to the users. Like how you can attack on a single target when you are targeting a simple user. So let me just open Google here, right? So let's start with some filters. If you're, so have you any idea about the Google Docs, DORKS, Google Docs, we call them, the Google
No.
filters, we generally call them.
No.
Okay. So these are just simple filters used in the Google to sort your results or to get some or to apply some kind of filters on your search results. Basically, that's what the Facebook. What was the Facebook? Let's go with the Anil Ambani. I got around 65,000. If I like 40,000 results, right? But if I want to search for all for this name in the title of the page, if I just want to look inside this title of the page, then I can apply some kind of filters like this one in title. Just use these filters in the short, in the lowercase letters, in title and colon. You can use double quotes when you are when you are applying filters on the multiple keywords here, right? If you're looking for multiple keywords, you have to enter the keywords in these kind of double quotes
Okay.
and press enter. This will give you around 47,000 results, and all these page has the Anil Ambani in their title. You can see Anil Ambani, and all different
Okay.
Anil Ambani, right? So when you apply your filter like this one, you only look for the page title. Okay.
Okay.
But if I want to look inside the page, if I want to look inside the page content, at that time I use some kind of filter like in text and just press enter. You can apply filters when you are looking for the page content. It will give you around 18 lakh results.
Yeah.
Or you can use the in title when you are looking for the page title itself. So if
Okay.
you want to restrict your search result to a specific domain, that I want some results only and only from this specific website, right? Then you can use your site Google Doc. When you want to restrict your results to a specific domain, you can use this site Google Doc. So let's go with any website. So anyone, let's go with indiatoday.in, right? So indiatoday.in. You have to specify the complete domain name here, right? With the extension as well, like .in here,
Okay.
and just press enter. Here we got only 2,310 results, and all these results were from this indiatoday.com, and they have the Anil Ambani in their text. So I have applied a filter with the name in text, right? So you have the Anil Ambani in the text, and this all the results are from the India Today only. You can just see India Today. If you browse for any page, like page number 10, all these results were from the same website, but from the same domain, indiatoday.in, right? Other than this India Today, like site Google Doc, if you want to look inside the entire URL, like if I give you an example like this one,
Okay.
you can see here in the browser. If you want to look inside the entire URL, not only to a specific domain, when you're looking for the entire URL, at that time you use this Google Doc, like in URL, right? And just press enter. It will give you some more results. You can say you can just remove this IN, get to the .in. Okay, you remove your, and you got around 2,590 results. And you can say all these results were still from indiatoday.in, but let me just change it to India Today. I have to modify this one. So let's go with the like, okay. Let me copy this string and paste it the URL part. So we get better results, right? And just press it. We got around 3,000, we got around 38,300 results. And in all these URLs, if I just open any URL from here, from Forbes, from Times Now, from this Economic Times, my word Anil Ambani was there in the URL, but it's not to a specific domain, right? There is no specific domain for the Anil Ambani. Domain was different, Forbes.com. But here we have the domain Time Now News, but Anil Ambani was still there. You can see Anil Ambani, right?
Yeah.
In the same thing. If Economic Times, we have the same name, Anil Ambani, but domain were different. So when you want to search for the URL, when you want to look inside the URL, then you can use this in URL Google Doc. Or when you want to restrict your result to a specific domain, you can use site Google Doc, right? Other than this, when you are looking for some kind of document, you can say, oh, let's go with this book, let's go with this one, request, right? I want the PDF for this book, right? So for looking, if you're looking for the PDF part, then you can just use the extension like file type. And with that file type extension for the Google Doc, you have to specify your extension for the files. I want the PDF. You can just go with the PDF and press enter. All the links, all the results, like all these 13 crore to 20 lakh results, right? Take it to the actual PDF. You can see the label here as well. This
Yeah.
link take it to the PDF, PDF, PDF again, right? So if you're looking for some kind of files or documents, you can just go with this file type extension, file type Google Doc. You can say. Other than this file type, we have one more similar Google Doc. We call it EXT for the extension. Both were almost same. Just press enter. We have few more results. We have 20 like more results, but again, the thing was similar.
Okay.
We got the PDF here, right? But you can only look for few things. You can only look for few extensions for the file for the document. You can say, and you can just go with this settings. And you have the advanced search option. If you are not familiar, if you are not comfortable with this kind of Google Doc, you can just go with this advanced search option and you can apply your filters here, like all these words, exact past, present, all different things. You can restrict your search to a language as well, to a region as well, to last updates, like last 24 updates, 24 hours, week, month, year, and all different things. But if you just scroll to the file type extension, we have this few limitations, like you can only search for PDFs, PS, and all these things, right?
Okay.
You can't search for the exe files, APK files, but you can only look for this. But you can look for this. Okay. XLS was there, PPT was there, doc files was there. right? So again, Google search was an amazing thing.
Okay.
So if you are looking for some kind of documents, right, you can just go with me like let's go with site like drive.google.com. Right, I'm restricting my search to a specific website like drive.google.com, and I'm looking for something like let's say pay scale. Not my pay scale. Let's go with the Aadhaar card, right? And we have the results.
Are those
You
real?
just open this that they were real. You can say
Oh, this is not very secure.
so you can just use Google's. You can just apply this kind of filters, right? Again, it shows us what information you are looking for. That's the important part. So you can just use this kind of Google Doc. We have one more which you can generally use. So that
So one
was the
question.
yes, yeah,
So can you write the person's name?
yeah. You can select. So any
Okay, no
person name,
problem.
anything.
My name.
A
ANISH. ANISH.
A N I S H.
Yeah. For
Let's
the
see.
Aadhaar card.
I'm not sure we got your Aadhaar card or not. But if the file was publicly shared, like in the Google
Okay.
Drive option, we have the option like sharing. Right? Anyone have the link can actually access the file. If I
Okay.
show you, let me just check. I have to open not this one. Let's go. Okay, let's go with
Instagram.
Instagram. So the most important part for the website part or for the public information which is available to the website is the who is record, right? If I just show you, let's go with the website informer first. Okay. On the other hand, let's go with who is dot domain tools.com. On the other hand, let's go with the DNS system. So the important part was that who is record. Let me just show you the who is record for Instagram. Just enter the domain name here to show you the results. Again, I'm going with the same results. Instagram.com. So here you have to validate the request.
This is recording, right?
It's still recording.
Okay.
So all your who is records contain some kind of information like when the website was registered, who registered the website, right? Where the website was registered, their mobile number, their email address, their owner name, and all different kind of information was stored in the who is record for a website. You just scroll down, you can see this Instagram.com was registered in 4/6/2004, 4th of June 2004, right? Expire on this date. Owner, domain, admin, Instagram.llc. Hosting company, Facebook again, registrant, this one, IP address for the server. The public IP which is assigned to that server is here.
Okay.
The subdomains we have here, the DNS part which store the IP address. Like when you request for the Instagram, simply type of for Instagram, right, .com. Your name was resolved. So you can say your request will
To an
send
IP.
to an IP.
Yeah.
Right, all this part was all this is about the DNS part.
Yeah.
You are already familiar with the DNS, and we don't have
Yeah.
to go with this option. But
Yeah.
we have this DNS option. We have this DNS record. You can say. Right, we have the name servers where the actual IP was stored for this domain.
Okay.
You can just go with owner's email address. Just go with this option. Close it, and you can see the owner email address domain at the fp.com. Sometimes you get the actual email address. It's not this kind of domain name. But sometimes you get this kind of domain like domain@fb.com, admin@fb.com, admin@instagram.com. But sometimes you get the actual Gmail address,
Okay.
right? So, but it depends on the website again, is it secure or not. You can just go with kind of ranking as well, like Alexa ranking we have here, like which is your monthly, average daily visits, and all different things we have here, right? Other than this, the main who is record, like domain name, Instagram.com, registrant ID, and who is server and all different things. Updated date, when was the last updates, right? Made for this website. This was 1st of March 2018, and this was the timestamp 7:43, right? You can just go with this information like INA. We have the address, we have the domain name, the registrant name, we have the email addresses here, we have the phone number here, the postal code, country, city, street, right? Organizations as well. We have all this kind of information which you can look for,
Okay.
and you can just verify this kind of information to multiple websites. The website info is just one of them. This is just the only. It's just a it's just one of the platform where you can look for the who is records. Other than this website informer, we have one more which you can look for the same information and you can verify the information as well. The second one was the domain tools, right? You can just go with the same results here. Registrant, IP, registrant, and all different things, dates we have here, right? So it's the you can say Instagram.com was around 6,139 days old. We have the name servers here. You can verify these things. You have the tech context. You have the IP addresses. You have the IP locations. We have different things here. But again, we have the who is records,
Okay.
status, names, updates, creation, and all different kind of information here.
Okay.
Other than this, we have one more website, not this one, DNS dumpster. If I again go with Instagram.com, the main objective was at the bottom. You can see here we have the chart. It was easy to analyze, and you can just go with the chart. And here we have multiple options, multiple things, right? So the first thing was the NS for the actual name server. Second thing was the MX record for the mail exchange server. So you can say the servers are handling the mails for this Instagram.com. Like if there
Yeah.
is any email address like admin@instagram.com, right? These servers are handling mails for this email address, admin@instagram.com. So these are the MX records. We have the A. Here stands for the IPv4 address. You can just go with this one. Amazon AES, and this is the IP address for this website. You can just verify this kind of information from these multiple platforms. Website Informer is just one of them. Domain Tools is again one of the platform. DNS Dumpster is again one of the platform. You can just go with the graph as well. Other than this, we have some tools in the parallel Linux as well. I'll go with these tools after some time.
Okay.
Other than this simple domain footprinting part, we have multiple things like server IP. For server IP, we generally show the capital A for IPv4 address, and we show 4 times capital A for IPv6 address, right? Then we have the MX record for the mail exchange servers. Then we have TTL value like time to leave. You already know what is TTL value. Then we have C names for the canonical name or the alias, we generally use for the similar website. Like if I
Mm-hmm.
use, for example, let's say like we use facebook.com, and for Facebook
F
we use
FB.
fb.com as, yeah,
Yeah.
because simple canonical name
CNAME.
you can say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than this, there's some social engineering attacks. The first one was eavesdropping. When you are trying to listen, when you are trying to uh, like fourth person, air person, we are communicating with each other, right? And when you are listening to someone's conversation, we call it
Sneaking.
eavesdropping. Taking, you can say,
Yeah.
right? But the point is when you are listening to someone's conversation, again, the point was there. Then second one, we have this shoulder surfing. When you are spying on someone, so that when he enter the username, password, all kind of sensitive information, you can just eye on his phone. Same part.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Then we have dumpster diving when you are looking for some sensitive information in the trash for the company itself, for the user itself, but you are looking inside the trash for some relevant information which will help you in the further attack. right? We call it dumpster diving. Other than
Okay.
this, we have some Google Docs. I've already covered that part. So if you want to go with other Google Docs as well, which other attackers have used to find some relevant information about their target, you can just go with this website, exploit-db.com. So just go with this one. So it's not this one. So the website exploit-db.com. So here we have the exploits, payload, and all different thing about this part. Other than this, we have the GHDB, so the Google Hacking Database. So just go with this option, and you can see the Google Docs and the string used with the Google Doc, right? So in title was used here, and the string was component browser login. Again, you can just copy this thing and paste on the Google. So just to verify what kind of information the attacker get with this kind of Google Docs or with this simple Google search, right? For that, you can just use this GHDB, the Google Hacking Database. It will also help you in enumerating your target. Other
Okay.
than
This is just
this,
this
yes,
is just the information that people used in the past, right?
yeah, you can say.
Okay.
You can add your Google Doc as well. You find some kind of information, and if that Google Doc was not listed here with that string, you can just go with this option submission, and you can submit your Google Doc as well. You have to mail them. You have to mail them. Submit at the rate offstack.com. You have to mail them,
Okay.
and it will be listed here.
Okay.
Other than this, there are some domain recon techniques. Website Informer is just one of them. Who is domain tools is again one of them, and DNS dumpster is one of them. Other than this, we have the built with, and we have one more extension for that, which is better than built with, you can say. So built will generally help you in identifying what technologies were generally used in building that website, like what kind of a CMS you are using, what kind of blocks you are using, right? And to build those blocks, what technology was used. You are using WordPress, you are using some Wix websites, and all different things. Just to verify what technologies, what APIs were called from other sources or other vendors. For that, we
Okay.
use the a website like built with. Other than this built with, you can use the extension as well, which is again similar to the built with. If I just go with Instagram, you can see analytics and technique from Google, from sorry, Facebook, widgets from again Facebook, language from Google. You can go with all these things, right? We have tons of language here.
So what are they for?
But we have all these things, all these languages were used for this website, Instagram.com.
Okay.
If I just go with Instagram, Instagram.com, you can access this kind of websites like Instagram.com in multiple languages. Like English is just one of them,
Okay. 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 Just that.
just that part.
Okay.
You can just verify these things from the build page. Framework, Adobe, and all different things. Mobile phone, Apple, Android would be there.
Okay.
Content, CDN, Facebook. Again, we know that part. Audio media, this shake player from GitHub itself. You can just verify this. Other than this, we have one more extension which you can use. That was the Webalizer. It will give you some kind of information like widgets from Facebook, social logins again from the Facebook, or miscellaneous like HTTP version. It's using version 2 here. Right, so you can
Okay.
go with these suppliers as well. You can go with build with as well. But again, just to verify what technologies, what things were used in building that website, you can just go with this build with. It's
Okay.
again an amazing website.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we have the server names here, Amazon route, we have the web hosting provider, Amazon, IPv6, and all different things we have here. Right, so you can
Okay.
just go with this. Other than this, we have two more websites like DNS Twister is just one of them, and Blister was different, built with this different Shodan. Let's go with Twister and Shodan then.
Okay.
So for DNS Twister, we have a specific attack just to explain you. Just open the website first. So DNS Twister is the website. So it will help you in identifying all the kind of similar subdomains. If I just open Instagram.com, right? If I want to register some kind of similar domain, like if I want to just replace this R to I, right, and I want to register this domain, and I want to, and before registration, I want to check this domain with this Instagram was registered
It's
or not.
available. Okay.
It's available or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to verify this thing or just to check what kind of similar domains were registered to this name Instagram.com. For that, I can use this website, DNS Twister. Just write the domain name here, Instagram.com, and it will give you a list of all the available and all the registered domains here, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
have multiple domains with L was registered. You can say instead of I for the Instagram, L was used to register, double I was used, H was used, K was used, A was used. You can see multiple things, right? We have the IP addresses, and for some of the domains, we have the MX records as well,
Okay.
right? So it found 188 records, 89, sorry, and we have 159 available domains as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say domain without A or MX record. You can just register these domains. Because we have a tag, we call it ID and homography. Can you read about this part?
No.
Okay. So in the ID and homography, generally, what your attacker do, they use some kind of scripts. Like you just go with Gaelic script here. So they use these kind of characters which looks similar to the actual English alphabets. So if I go with A, it looks like A, but your system will interpret it as a different character because they have different values for the ASCII table, right? They have different value in the ASCII table, so your system will interpret these characters as a different character. If I just copy this character A, it looks like A, right? And if I just search on the Google for Anil Ambani again,
Mm-hmm.
I got around 6, 7, 90 lakh results, right? And if I just replace this A for the Anil and paste my character from Cyrillic script and then press enter, I got 0 results because my system was interpreting this character A as a different, right? So we got few images, but again, we got 0 results here. You can see. So
So
this
why are
way
they?
to attack, sorry,
Yeah. Yeah. So this way.
I didn't understand.
So what's the benefit of this?
Okay, what's the benefit? The point is, so your attacker can register this kind of domains. It looks exactly similar to the Instagram. So if I want to register Instagram, I can use this dotted I. It looks like the actual I, but my system will interpret this character as a different character. So I can register this. I can
Mm-hmm.
register by using this character. My system will treat this as a different character, but my user will face the exact name like Instagram.com. He will analyze the name with this one. I just copy it and write it here. I'm just pasting this character here, but you will read it.
Yes.
Instagram.com, but my
Yeah.
system will interpret it as a different domain. Right? And I
Okay.
can host my malicious website here. I can host my malicious website here. So the benefit of that hacker. He can use
And
this kind of factor, he can use this kind of scripts.
they
Yes,
will allow us to host this website with this character.
yes, yes. Some of the registrants allow you, and some of them will not allow you. If I just go with like GoDaddy, they will not allow you. Just go with GoDaddy. Some of them allows you and some of them not. Instagram.com, just search for the domain. We have this system. Small I was there and it was available for 149 rupees. You can register it, but it's again not .com, it's .in.
Okay.
Some of the registrant allows you and some of them don't, but you can register this kind of websites, right?
Okay.
So that was the basic part of the Felix script. If your attacker was using this kind of factors and registering a website, so he can host, he can just what we call them, he can just mirror the actual website.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So he was
And
he
then
was registering. Yes,
what is this IDN?
what is this?
The IDN on the previous tab. You have
IDN.
IDN. Yeah.
This technique was known as IDN, internationalized domain name.
Okay.
This kind of attack was known as IDN because you are targeting the domains here.
Okay.
So the attack name was IDN,
Okay.
and you can use multiple scripts. Cyrillic is just one of them. You can use
Okay.
Greek, you can use Armenian. can use Hebrew, Thai, Chinese, other scripts were also there. You can use any script. Cyrillic is just one of them.
Okay.
And the characters were similar. They look similar, but your system will interpret them as a different character.
Okay.
Right? So you can register your domains. They look similar to the actual ones, but it's actually different. The attack was IDN here. So you can
So
just
why do
take
they
help
have
from
it?
the why do they have?
Yeah, these characters.
Okay. So if you are asking like you are just asking a single question, like why we use Hindi?
Sorry.
The question
Yeah.
is something like why we use Hindi? Why we have different languages? So these are the characters are used in different languages. In different
Okay.
languages, we use these characters. They look
Okay.
similar to A, they look similar to B,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
but they are the
But
characters from different languages.
okay. 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 Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is simple idea of holographic attack, and you can just go with DNS twister just to identify what kind of similar domains registered for this Instagram.com, right? You can just verify if you get a domain, if you get a link for this kind of website, you can just check.
Okay.
Other than this DNS twister, we have the Shodan, through which you can just identify the IP addresses for the machine. So Shodan is just like a search engine for like Google, where you can search for all the devices connected to the internet, like your mobile phone, your servers, your printers, your cameras, your Bluetooth speakers, all different things which is connected to the internet. You can search for the Shodan. Again, Shodan is a paid version. If you are using the paid one, we have few options. But if you're using it for free, we have few limitations as well. Like some of the features are not accessible to the free version. You can just register yourself, and if you have the academic ID, or if you have the .edu IDs, right, then you can just go with the pro version for free. So you can just search here for anything, almost anything. You can search for the website, you can search for the phones, cameras, Windows XP, Windows 10, whatever you want. You can just search here for anything. Let's go with the like Instagram.com. Just search here. So we got two results which connect to the Instagram, right? You can just go with these things. You can just try accessing this kind of website. Again, they were never 100% sure that this IP was linked to the Instagram or not, but you can just check these things. If this IP or this machine was somehow linked to the Instagram, you can just look, you can just start finding vulnerabilities, start finding weakness in this machine. So that you can just migrate from this machine to the actual Instagram server. Right? So you can just take help from the Shodan just to identify what devices were connected to the Shodan. So what devices were connected to the Instagram. So I can just try finding vulnerabilities on those websites, on those devices.
Okay.
You can just check for this IP addresses, just copy it. If there was port number 80 or port 3, just copy the IP address and you can just open it in the browser. You just go with advanced, accept the result, accept the risk and continue. Let's see what we get. I don't know this website was from the Instagram or the Facebook or not, but you can again check it, right? And again, it's not in the English.
So, but this was linked to Instagram
It's
in
completely in the
one
English.
way. Yeah.
So, but you can go with this kind of information as well. You can take help from the Shodan to identify what kind of services would use in this website using this use for these devices. So looking for something like any server name, like let's go with something like IIS servers. Just check. You got few servers for the IIS, and you can just go with this thing, right? You can search for the company name as well. Like let's go with like Facebook and press enter. So you got few results for Facebook as well. You can just start enumerating about these things. So just one by one, start finding vulnerabilities in this domain, in this IP address, in this machine. You just copy the IP and paste it here. If the okay, IIS 7, there's nothing else.
Need the port number.
Port number was 80. You can like right back. port number was 80 only. So 2000 was there. Let's try 2000. You can just search for this thing. So next was this. But you can look for this thing for the showdown. You can search for the company name. You can search for the website name. You can search for the services. You can search for the devices. You can almost look for anything, right? To
One
help
question
you in
here.
numerating about the target. Yes.
So let's say if I randomly start doing this for some websites and then I try to open them on my web browser or try to do RDP or something, so they will know that from which IP the request is coming.
Yeah, they know.
So then is it not dangerous?
Suppose if you are trying to access like Instagram.com, then I'm trying to access Instagram. Yes, because website was hosted on port number 443 here. They have
Yeah.
the logs, but I'm not sure they have analyzing the logs for all the things. Like if someone was trying to access this website or not, if someone was trying to access this IP address or not, or you can just go into something like VPN connection. You can use some kind of proxies. You can use kind of Tor just to hide your anonymity, just to hide your identity.
VPN's gonna hide it 100%.
Mm, You can say
Okay.
not your proxy and you can't hide your identity 100%, but in Tor browser you can just go with Tor. It can hide your identity like 99.9%.
99.9%.
Yes, you can say.
Okay.
Because nowadays in Tor browser we have 6 relays between the connection between the actual client and the server. We have 6 different relays, so it's much secure, much anonymous. You can say,
Okay.
yeah. You can just try with this. You can just go with this. You can just try that.
Okay.
Other than this Shodan and DNS Twister, let's see what we have. So build with was done, dumpster was done, twister was done, derb and sublister. These two tools were we have to install in the Kali links. Let's go with and install. So let's go with Kali. First I have to modify the power settings. Just go with settings, scroll down to the power management part. Let's change it to have automatic suspend. No, yeah, now it's better. So if you just go with any website, let's say if I go with hacker one, don't go with hacker one, any website name other than this Instagram and hacker one and simple website. Any website,
fnesc.ca.
sorry, FNEFC.
Es no fnesc.ca. .ca.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a yeah.
So
Okay.
what's the website about?
Just like
First
a normal.
National Education Steering Committee. Okay. So in all the websites, we have some kind of, you can say all the servers, we have some kind of directories, right? These are the just listed directories you can see on the website. These are just few directories you can see, but we can try enumerating about other directories on the server as well. And for enumeration about the directories, you can use some kind of tools like Derb is just one of them, right?
Okay.
On the other end, sublister you can use just to identify the subdomains for that website. And you have to install sublister here. So just go with sudo apt install sublister. So here E was replaced with the 3, so you have to keep this in mind. I can just press enter. Go with the password. SUBLIS before what? Yeah,
So you need to know the proper name of it, right?
yeah. You have to know the proper name. You need to know the
Yeah.
proper name.
Mhm.
So other than this, in the meanwhile, you can say. So tool was installed. My derb was already installed. So it's already pre-installed in the Kali Linux. So you can use derb just to enumerate about the directories or the folders on the server side, right? So before enumerating this thing, you need one more thing to know, and that was the HTTP status code. Let's go with the link. I'm sharing this link so you can just read more about this status code. Link shared.
I
And
can
for right
copy it
now,
right now.
yes, you can copy the link.
I'm making a notepad so that I can copy all the links.
Okay, copy the link.
Okay, good.
Okay. So we have two common status codes for the HTTP services, for the HTTP responses, you can say. The first one is 200, which the request
Okay.
or the resources you have requested was available and we got the resource. We
Okay.
call it simple success code or okay code, right? Other than this, we have the code 300. It means the resource was available on a different location and you will be redirected to that location. We call it 300 code. We have multiple other
Mhm.
codes in the 300 list, 301, 2, and 3 for multiple purposes. For permanent redirection, for temporary redirection, for not modified path. But other than this 300, there's the code 400. When you are requesting for some kind of resource which is not accessible, which is not available, or you don't have permission for that, right? Either the resource was not available or you don't have permission for that generally. But something was different, or something was wrong with your request.
Mhm.
We get the code 400. When
I
there was
saw this.
something wrong with your request,
Yes, I
right?
saw this
We
when I
generally
was doing some API calls.
yeah, we generally face this one 404 not found.
Not found. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, if there was something wrong on the server side itself, then we go to the code 500, right? So let's try this tool term. So you can enumerate about the website. So let's just copy the website name, just copy the URL from here, and you can just paste it directly here and just press enter. Your derb will use the common.word list file, common.txt file. Again, this is the default word list available in this derb tool. If you want to use your own word list or your own word list file, you can just go with derb and just go with the URL again. With the space, you have to specify your word list. So let's go with something like user. So I have my word list, or if you want some more word list, you can just go with something like sudo apt install checklist, right? We have multiple word lists in this single tool. You can say. So just download this tool, download this word list from GitHub, and around 386 MB file. It will take a while to install, depending on the speed again. So you can
So
just
what
browse
is
for this. Yes.
so what is this word list for?
Okay. Let me just show you the word list first. So you'll better understand. So I'm going with the directories here. So just go with computer. Here we have the user USR folder. Here we have the folder name share. Here we have the folder name word list with all the word lists for there. And here we have the references links. You can say. Just go with the derb because I'm using the derb tool.
Mhm.
And inside this word list, we have simple words one by one for each line. In each line, we have words, right? There are chances that the folder name for there could be a directory with this name on the server side. And there could be directory with the name, let's say something like this thing. Right? There could be directory with the name add, with the name add news, add-ons, add post, add reply, addresses.
Okay.
These are just common text files with words in each line, with with one word in a line, you could say. We
Mhm.
have few common words here, and all these words are stored in a simple text file.
Okay.
So we can just try for these kind of words. So this is a simple tool. We don't have to try, don't have to copy this name here and try one by one. Like if I just go with this one, can access this file. Nope, we got 404 means file not exist. So I don't want to try them one by one. Just copy the word, copy this name, and paste it here one by one. Right. So
Mhm.
instead of that part, what I will do, I will just automate this task with the tool derb here,
Mhm.
and I will analyze the status code. I got 404 like this one. I got 302, 200, whatever the status code was. I will analyze the response so I can check the file was there or not, or there
Okay.
was some kind of directories for the server side with this name or not. So that I have this word list or the kind of words which were stored in some text files. We call it word list. And
Okay.
a file contains this kind of words.
Okay.
So we have multiple word lists here which you can use. Again, if you want to specify your own word list, You can just go with the directory again. Let's go with something user share. I'm going with this simple word list here, big.txt on this folder. User
Mhm.
share word list derp and big.txt. Just go with user share word list. For autofill, you can use tab here. Just write the word name, like let's go with WO, and you can use tab for autofill. So user
Okay.
share word list. Let's go with derp and add big.txt and just press enter. It will use your word list big.txt as the file,
Mhm.
right? So it contains around 40,458 results, 40,458 words, right? And in common.txt, we have around 4612 words. And we got some values here, like we got a directory with the name 02, but we got the code redirection.
301.
Right? But
Yeah.
you can try, yeah, you can just try accessing this link. Just press the control button and you can just click here. It will automatically open the link in your browser. You can just try accessing this kind of. Nope, there is no directory. We were thrown to the actual home page. But you can just try this thing.
We can try.
You can
Okay.
start, yeah, you can just start looking for this thing. Other than this dirt, if you are looking for some kind of subdomain,
Yeah.
like you are, okay, you
Like
know the
mail.
subdomains,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mail.finance.ca. Yeah.
yes. So you can use the tools sublister, and for using the tool sublister again, the command was same sublister. Yeah, you can use sublister or you can use man page as well. For derp as well, we have the man page. So you just go with the man derp. You should check what options are available with the derp, right? And how to use that to the proper synopsis. You just go with the manual page. You have the
Mhm.
proper options which you can use. And same for the sublisters, you have the options. So you can go with the hyphen help for the help page. You can go with the man for the manual page again. If you try. Just go with the help page, and if you are using this option hyphen D for the domain name, again you can go with the hyphen B for the brute force, hyphen P for the port, verbose, threads, engine, output, and all different things we have here, right? So let's go with simple sublister hyphen D for the domain, and domain name was not this one. I again have to copy the
FNESC.
domain.
Okay.
Let's copy it. Just copy the domain name, and you can just use it here, right? Present a domain name.
Maybe just finance.ca.
Okay. You don't have to. You have to remove this HTTPS and
Yeah. Yeah.
www
Yeah.
from the domain name,
Yeah.
right? So again, this sublister will take help from this kind of search engines like Baidu, Yahoo, Google, Bing, Ask, all different search engines we have here, and it will list out all the subdomains for this specific website. So just wait for 3 minutes, for few seconds, you can say. And again, for this sublister, for this domain names, you can use other tools as well, like the harvester was there, to which you can identify some information about the target. Like if I show you, let's go with the harvester for the tool, and you can use multiple options here again. Let's go with the help page, and I'll be using this hyphen B for the source, and let's go with hyphen D for the domain,
Okay.
right? So it depends what source you are using. You can enumerate about the employees, you can enumerate about the email addresses available on that web page. You can go for the subdomains as well. But again, it depends what source you are using here, right? If you want to enumerate about the employees itself, then you can go with something like the harvester hyphen D for the domain. Let's go with something like Microsoft because this is a complete domain name here. Let's go with hyphen B for the source. Let's go with LinkedIn. If you start looking for all the employees which are working for this company, Microsoft.com, and the profiles were available on the LinkedIn, right? We crawl the LinkedIn for all the profiles for this
Mhm.
Microsoft.com and just press enter. Again, it depends what source you are using here.
Okay.
So I'm using LinkedIn just to identify all the employees. So you can see all the profiles available on the LinkedIn for this domain Microsoft.com. And within few seconds, within few minutes, to list out the complete list of all the employees there.
How about if I want for some particular employee? Let's say I have a name. Then.
then you can't search here. Then you can just go with the LinkedIn, and you get the link. If you get the name here, you can just open the LinkedIn. You can just go in a minute the profile.
Oh,
Again,
but
you
you
go to
can't
the
search
LinkedIn.
it from here.
You can't search it from here,
So let's
but you
say
can
this
just search for the profile if you know the profile name. If you just know the person name. You can just look for the profiles like if there's a Facebook profile, their Instagram profile, their LinkedIn profile. You can go with these things. You can go with
can you try
profile with the
one?
person name. Yeah, you can
Can you
try.
try one for
Let's
the
we
Facebook?
have to download tools here. So the first one was user icon, which we have to clone. Then it's user icon, we have the Sherlock. Let's go with GitHub. So for downloading tools from the GitHub, again, you know the steps. Just copy the link, copy this URL here, and write the command like, where is the simple? Here we have it. Just write the command git clone. Download the repository, and using this command git clone and the URL here.
Where did you
So
get this
for
one?
the
URL? Okay, this one.
this screen button code,
Okay,
you can
okay.
download this. You can download the zip file as well. Then you have to extract it again, and you got the same folders. You got this complete repository. So you can just
Okay.
use this URL, copy it, and you can use the command git clone and the URL here.
Okay.
You get the repository again.
Okay.
So we got the repository user account. Just clone the Sherlock as well. So just go with the code, copy this one, just go with the terminal. Again, add the command git clone and the URL here. So these two tools for generally using. These are the tools for generally looking for the social media platform like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, whatever the platform was there, they can look for. Let's go with ls. I can list the files. So we got the two folders here with the name Sherlock and user account. The two different tools, right? So first, let's go with the user account. So cd user account, and here we have the folders. Here we have the files you can say. So these two are the README files. That these two are just text files you can say.
Okay.
I don't have to do anything with these text files. All I need is this sh file. So you can just see this file in the gray color. It means I don't have permissions. Again, if you just go with ls-l just to verify the permissions, I don't have permission to execute this file because
Mm-hmm.
I only get the R and W here. I don't
Change
have X
permissions.
for execution. I can
Yeah.
change permission with chmod, like plus X.
777.
I'm going with for all the users here and user account with sh. I go to the file. I will go with ls this time. You can see the color was changed here.
Mm-hmm.
Just go with dot slash to execute the user account with sh file. Again, asking for a username. So any username you want to enumerate about this. Let's go with your name, Anish, and press enter. Just start looking for the exact username on multiple platforms like Instagram, like Facebook, Twitter. But it will
Okay.
look for the exact username.
So you need to know the exact username in order to do a
Yeah,
search.
yes, you need to know the exact username. If you just go with this Instagram profile, you just check.
So then what is the use of this tool if I have to go to the website to look for the exact username?
No use. You can say. If you don't know the exact username, you can't identify the profile. But
So
you
let's
can
say if
try with you can try with the name. Like if your name was Anish.Verma, whatever it was, then you can just go with hit and try. Anish was something, Anish something simple, Anish. I replaced with one. You can try with multiple inputs.
so let's say I have the correct username and then I use it here. So what is the result gonna do for me?
You can identify the profile.
Okay.
So let me just give you a so any username.
1 second, I can take a look.
Okay, you can take a look.
So let's go with Ankit, ANKIT.
Is it
Yeah, that's it.
okay? So we got the Instagram profile. Click here.
Eh,
Ankit Joshi.
Okay. It was just Ankit, the one I was looking for.
Okay. The
Just a random
username or the
profile.
profile name was Ankit here.
Yeah, just a random one.
Okay. So you can use user icon if you just want to try for this thing. Other than this user icon, the Sherlock do the same thing for you. Just go with ls. You do the cd and then go with the ls. You got the folder with the name Sherlock. Just change the
Mhm.
directory to Sherlock. Here we have the multiple files, but we have a file with the name requirements.txt. It means this tool depend on two other techniques, two other technologies as well. So first we have to
Mhm.
install those technologies. First we have to install those dependencies. Only then you can execute this tool, right? So let's
Okay.
say if you just check what dependencies were there in this requirement.txt file, you have to install all these dependencies first. So for installation, you need to install this. You need to execute this command like pip. Okay, it was not installed, so we have to install pip as well. Just go with sudo apt install pip, and yes, I want to install it. Okay, now you can execute the command like just go with ls again. You can just go with pip install -r and requirement.txt. When you are taking input from the file, let me use
Mhm.
this option R and just press enter. It will download and install all the dependencies for you.
Okay. Yes, this
It's
is-
all done. Now you can execute this tool catalog and you can just go with readme file just to identify what commands I have to execute. First, I have to install this requirement, then I have to execute this tool. How I have to execute this tool. For that, you can just go with readme files, right? But I know for this Sherlock, I can execute the command with Python 3 and just folder them Sherlock and press enter. So we have multiple options here which you can use again. And if you don't want to use these options, just go with the username here at the last. So let's say username was Ankit again and press enter to start identifying all the profiles with his name Ankit here. So again, here we have multiple platforms, not similar to the user icon like Instagram, Facebook. Platforms were different here. If you don't want to use this kind of tools like Sherlock and user icon, we have some websites as well which you can use to identify this kind of public information. And one of them was, let me just check.
Can I specify a website as well?
You can specify, just name it.
In the
Okay,
same tool?
so you can't specify website. Sorry. Let's try
Sorry.
this one.
Okay.
Use the website name. Let's go with Microsoft.
Yeah.
So another name you want to try.
Yeah, this is a username from Microsoft.
Okay, Microsoft. So we got the profile. Let's try this profile. Is it from Microsoft? Yes, it's from Microsoft. You can try multiple other as well. Let's go with anyone. Let's go random. Microsoft, again Microsoft. But let's see the profile was real or not. No, the username was Microsoft, but the profile was not from Microsoft itself. You can
Okay.
give it a try, right? Other
Okay.
than these two tools, we have website as well, like social search was there. Do the same thing for you. It can give you more results. You just go with users and search here for Ankit and press enter. You got result for all these platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Vimo, and I don't know for this D.
Okay.
Just wait for a second. Yeah, you got the profiles. You got multiple profiles from multiple sources. If you want to restrict it to some simple, you can just uncheck these things and you can just go with Facebook only. Right? You
Okay.
don't have any profile for Facebook. Let's go with Instagram. We have all these profiles for with the name Ankit, right? Here the username was different. Here the username could be different, but the profile of the user or the actual person's name was Ankit here. Here Ankita was there, Ankit Gupta was there, Ankit Agarwal was there. So you can just try this thing. If you want, you can just go with the premium as well. It will list out more results for you,
Okay.
right? You can just go with these things. Simple. Other than these simple extra tools, there is one tool which is the combination for almost everything. To the complete package for this thing. We call it Maltigo, right? It comes pre-installed in Kali Linux. So it was again a paid tool, but you can use it for free as well. But we have some limitations for that. And you have to register yourself. Let's go with the free version. If you want, you can just use the paid. I'm not using the paid one right now. So I'm going with the community edition, the free version part. Just go with this one option here.
So this was already there.
This was already there. You don't have to install it manually. But if you want to use it in Windows, then you can install it in Windows as well.
Okay.
So next, we have to log in here, and I don't have credentials, so let's register. Just click on this button, register here. And for registration, you can use some temp mails. You don't have to specify your email address everywhere. Just go with tempmail.org. Some temporary email addresses
Can it receive as well?
I can receive. I have the option to receive that email, but I can't send the email. I can only receive.
You can only receive. Okay.
Yeah. So username, let's go with ABC. Last name DEF. Email address. This one password. I'm using the email address as my password. So just to be another robot. Mountain Hill. Let's say here. This one. Verify and register.
So
All
one
save.
question about this tool.
Yes.
Does it have SMTP information?
Does it have some
SMTP information? Let's say if I want
SMTP?
to, yeah, I want to send some alerts to this email address, then
You can. For SMTP, we generally have multiple other tools which you can use. So in Kali Linux, we have other tool like SMTP-user-enum, the tool name was. And there was a tool SMTP-user-enum. You have to install it. Go with apt, install again, go with sudo permissions, Kali. You can use this tool SMTP-user-enum. You want to enumerate about this SMTP service.
so this is
Again, the
just for the
format
SMTP service. And what about the email addresses?
will give you the email addresses as well.
Okay.
You can look for the person. You can look for the person name. You can look for the email addresses as well.
Okay.
It has the option. You can just go with -h.
So this is kind of my own email server, right? Mail server.
Yes, you can say. But they're not
Okay.
the server. It's just a tool just to try that there was a username with this name on that server or not. There's a user with the name or not. We're just trying to identify the username
Okay.
on
Okay.
that server
Okay. Okay.
just to check what was the email address for that user. Is there any user with the name or not? For that,
Okay.
we have this tool, SMTP user enum.
Okay.
So let's continue with the Multigo. Here we have the
Mhm.
link for activation. So just go with the link. Account was activated. You can download the Multigo as well if you want. If you're using it for the Windows as well, then you have to download it. Use for the zip file. You can go with Windows, exe, again it's shortcut. But
Okay.
in Kali Linux, some screens for in this, you don't have to install it. Just register yourself for the username and password and log in here. So 73 and LR. Next, so I got the details A, B, C, D, E, F, and the address. Just go to the next. Few more times you have to continue with the next. Just do next few times. So I'm opening a blank graph as I can show you the tool, how you can use it. Just wait a second.
Okay.
So